Hi, I'm Beth. Welcome to today's yoga class. This class is going to be a restorative yoga practice. We're actually going to do just one restorative pose. We're going to do a version of a V-sit at the wall. You will need some props. I'll review that in a moment. And then once we set up in the restorative pose, I'm going to do a short reading while you relax. The book I'm going to read from is from yogi Jillian Pransky. It's called Deep Listening. I will link to that down below. All right, so gather your props before we get started. I have a yoga bolster here. Mine is pretty thick. If you don't have a yoga bolster, if you have some couch cushions, those will work great. You can use pillows from your bed if they're pretty firm pillows, so you might need a couple. And then I have my bolster leaning on another cushion to prop it up. I also have a couple blocks here, so we're going to vary how much we have the bolster propped up, and that will depend on what feels good to you. And then the other little prop I have is a blanket. You might want something, a small blanket or a towel for your head. And now we'll get into the pose. So start with your bolster, your cushion somewhat propped up on another thick pillow on your blocks. Again, we'll play around with the height. And then you can probably see I'm about 2 feet from the wall or so to start. We're going to play around with that distance. I'm going to come around so that my low back comes right up to the bolster. So the bolster will be supporting my back. My feet are going to be on the wall. So this is the only tricky part, kind of getting into this as gracefully as possible. I'm going to start to lean back, and I'm going to lift my feet up in a V, and you'll see my heels will go on the wall. Now your feet can be more together or more apart. So this is like a little combination of a reclined V and a legs up the wall pose without being completely flat on the ground. Now, you can see right now I have a higher V in my legs than in my upper body. And if I stay here, I feel the need to have a little pillow under my head. So that blanket works just perfectly for a little pillow. So if you are about at this place and this feels good to you, you can stay right here. I'm going to adjust my back setup. Now remember that you can stay at any time you find your own comfort level. You can stay in the pose while I show variations or adjustments. So I'm going to slide this a little bit further away from the wall. And I'm going to use my blocks to make this a little bit of a higher setup. Now you can use the blocks on any height. Since I already have this other cushion here, I'll just use both. Now you can see how that's created a significantly higher lean for my bolster. Put it about there. And I'll flip around again. Now I'm a little bit further away from the wall. And now I've got more of an equal V, more of an equilateral triangle to my body. And I like where this feels. If I was a little further, my feet might even be a little flatter on the wall. I do like having that little pillow behind my neck, so I'm going to do that again, really behind the top of my head so that there's a natural curve at my neck. And instead of my chin jutting up and away, it's pointing more straight ahead. So this certainly feels like a really great place for me that I could definitely stay here. You notice I widen my arms out to the side. That's one option. Another option is to rest your hand on your belly. Or if you have additional pillows or blocks, you can have your forearms resting on them. And then as we find the pose, as we get into it, you'll return to a natural in and out breath through the nose. So in restorative yoga, we want to find a place where we feel comfortably supported, and then we release and rest in the pose. You stay in your pose. I'm going to come back around to face you. And this is where I'm going to do the reading as you continue to relax into the pose. So remember, in restorative, we're simply resting. You don't need to feel any sense of stretch in your body. If something is doing work, change the setup of your props, change how far you are from the wall. so that you don't have to work in the pose. We're not trying to stretch. We're simply trying to release. We're going for that feeling of rest and restore. So this book, Deep Listening, is all about restorative yoga. The author, Jillian Pransky, is a restorative yoga instructor, and she really teaches listening to your body and resting in your body. The part that I'm going to read is called Listening Deeply, and this is on page 165. Let yourself land. Let your body land on the ground completely. Let your breath arrive in your body. Notice the pause at the end of your exhale. Your inhale will return on its own. Let yourself pause and relax. Relax expectations, judgments, shoulds. Listen beyond the words. Listen beyond knowing. Listen deeply. Listen into the space at the end of your exhale. Just like the breath, when we get out of the way, wisdom flows through us. Pause, soften, receive. Feel what is happening. Wisdom whispers in the space between the doing. What do you need to know right now? And so as you rest in this posture a little bit longer, know that you're simply being, you're not doing. You're allowing, permitting, giving your body permission to take that much needed pause. Now you are welcome to stay here resting on your bolster for as long as you'd like. Restorative poses can be held anywhere from a few minutes to 15 or 20 minutes. When you really rest into a pose, you can allow your body that deep, deep rest. If you'd like to try some other restorative practices with me, I will link to my playlist up here. Otherwise, let me know if you'd like this. Let me know if you'd like to see more practices. Comment below and subscribe to my channel, and you'll get updates on anything new that I post. Thanks, and have a great rest of your day.